learned and collaborated lots. Now we're going to have the wrap-up of the day. This is going to be a wrap-up for the Be Smart, Be Safe theme. And I would like to introduce Deborah Taylor-Tate, ITU Special Envoy for Child Online Protection, who's going to be facilitating the conversation, as well as Marta Santos-Pais, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General on Violence Against Children. Thank you.
Thank you all and welcome back. This is the closing, as you all know, for today. Great work this afternoon. Every breakout session I went in was overcrowded and packed, and exciting things were going on, so we're looking forward to hearing back from you all. If you all would, please help me thank our sponsors and our partners, Panamore, Microsoft, UNICEF, and Disney. Let's give them a round of applause. They enabled this very important day to occur, so we thank them. We're also very thrilled, and you all saw just a tidbit of it a moment ago, that our Mexico hub is going to be present. And so I would like to call up Doug Court. Doug? Doug? I hope we're going to find Doug at some point. Okay, when Doug walks into the room, this is going to be casual, obviously, this afternoon. So when Doug comes into the room, we'll try to pull the hub up. But what's so exciting about this, as you all know, there are hubs around the world that are working on the same issues that you all are. So in some, they're groups of people. In some places, they're just individuals. And so it is so exciting to know that all the work that you all are doing here is actually being replicated in countries all around the world, and we're thrilled to have their participation as well. I'm sure some of you all, like I, have been following on Twitter what's going on in other places. Doug? No, Doug. Miguel. Is Miguel here? Could you come up and introduce the hub for us? Maybe. I could just talk about the hub for a while and how much these great people are working in Mexico and how much we appreciate all their efforts. As you all know, in a few minutes, we're going to have representatives from all the breakout sessions come up and give us your feedback, because obviously, like I said earlier in the day, this is all about your voices and being able to take them elsewhere. We want to do that, and then we want you all to do that as well. Fabulous. Please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel Raimilla. I'm the Executive Director of Telecenter.org Foundation, which is one of the partners of ITU, and we've been working with ITU and connecting telecenters, public access computing, and invite more people, young people from around the globe, to participate in this event here in Costa Rica. For me, it's very important to remind you that even though we're here and enjoying great technology and we're playing with wonderful gadgets, the reality is today, as we speak, more than 2 billion people remain without any access to technology at all. That's why telecenters are very important in developing countries, but even today, in Europe, in places like Spain, Greece, and all those countries who are suffering economic crisis, telecenters are becoming the place where people gather and look for new ideas and opportunities. Right now, we're going to connect with one of those examples in Mexico. The University of Monterrey, Tec de Monterrey, is one of the members of this global community of telecenters. And they provide access, technology, but also make sure that people find the best way to use technology to improve their lives on a daily basis. Without further ado, if you were ready to connect with Monterrey, let's welcome the people of Mexico. Thank you.
Monterrey, can you hear us?
Yes.
Are you ready to go? Please take the floor. The floor is yours, Monterrey.
Hello.
Monterrey, could you please tell us the outcomes of your Be Smart, Be Safe workshop?
¿Nos escuchan en Monterrey?
They had to be.
Here with people from around the globe. So welcome to you. Bienvenidos.
Welcome.
So nos gustaría mucho saber que compartan su experiencia.
We would like to know what is the experience and share it with us to participate in this event, and why is this a great idea?
Well, hi everyone. This is Hub Monterrey here at Tecnológico de Monterrey, Mexico. And we are going to share with you one of the ideas we came up with last Saturday at our summit, specifically for the Be Smart, Be Safe workshop. First, we detected the necessity to associate the virtual citizenship with the physical one to generate trust on the activities performed in the cyberspace. The top problem detected according to the Internet Crime Complaint Center is identity theft. According to Radicati Group, that is a technology market research firm, the number of worldwide email accounts is expected to be 4.1 billion by year-end 2015. We decided to give a solution to the problem mentioned before by taking advantage of the email usage statistics and growth trends, associating the person to an email account by a physical process like the one we can see on banks, educational institutions, and government offices. By a decentralized organism, office, or booth, a person can go and associate the most common official citizen process of its country, which in Mexico would be the voter ID, with its email account. By this, the email will be verified and the criminal actions made on internet will be easier to track and have a physical repercussion. By this simple process, actors like e-banks, social networks, governments, companies, and users will have a major trust on the transactions made by internet, which can be translated as a safer cyberspace, more and better e-commerce, and less scams. We all win. Thank you.
Fabulous. Can you hear all the applause?
Yes.
Good. Wonderful. It's wonderful to have you all. I don't know, are they going to stay connected so they can hear the rest of the evening? Wonderful. We look forward to having you. We look forward to having you. Maybe you can send us tweets or questions if you want to intervene. We're so very thrilled to have you, and especially your new idea. So maybe we'll find an investor to invest in your idea. Good, thank you. Okay, so it didn't work out for us to have one of the other hubs with us, but we're so glad that we got to have Monterey and that they've worked so hard. I mean, it sounds like they started last Saturday. Now, what we'd like to do is welcome two representatives from the breakout sessions to actually tell us what you all did this afternoon in your own words, so that we can begin to craft your voice. As the President said, she would like to take something to the UN General Assembly. We're also thrilled that we have representatives from UNICEF. Marta is here, and she likewise works in New York at the UN with UNICEF. So with that said, I'm not sure exactly who has volunteered, to come and tell us about the breakout sessions, but this is what I'd like for you all to do. I'd like for, first of all, you need a microphone, so I'm not sure if somebody has already handed out microphones to you all. Are you all the responders, rapporteurs? Let's try to find a microphone maybe so that everybody can hear them and also we can get them on the recording. Sure. Oh, let's try that and see. Okay, we're going to try and see if one of these will work. So if you all would, we would like for you to introduce yourselves and tell us where you're from, your country, and then also if a sponsoring organization brought you here, then we would love to hear that as well, because we want to be able to thank them, because it's so important. And on that note, I hope that all of you all are going to write a note of appreciation to whoever brought you here, and the Secretary General, the First Lady of Nigeria, and President Chinchilla. I think it's very important for all of us to show our gratitude and appreciation for their leadership as global leaders. So with that said, please go ahead.
Okay. Do you want me to stand up here?
Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Zainab, and I am visiting from Qatar, and I have come with a bunch of people from ICT Qatar. So we took part in the Be Smart, Be Safe, the Smarted Up session. We covered 5 different topics within this session, and I'll just quickly run through them for you without taking too long. So we had beyond social networking, engaging in peer-to-peer support, online reputation, caring for my digital footprint, and we had Minecrafting SS digital relations, and then my friend here will cover the 2 other sessions we covered. So one of the sessions we took part in was centered around how do we feel about the nature of online social bonds, and should people implement a value or support system as your network groups grow. In simple terms, what that means is, as our number of friends on Facebook or our number of followers on Twitter starts to grow, should we take a responsibility to let people know when they've posted something online that's not right? Is it our responsibility? As a group, we decided that yes, it is our responsibility to some point, because we do have to give people freedom to sort of post what they like and express themselves. But it is our responsibility to tell our peers when they've posted something that might be inappropriate or it might harm them. One of the ways we can do this is we need to create more awareness. We need to make people critical thinkers. And how we can do this is, number one, we need to start early. So in schools, we need to educate people about what they post online has an impact. Number two, maybe we need to sort of close our peer circles. So not all our friends on Facebook are real friends. So maybe we need to limit how many people we're accepting online, or a number of followers. And thirdly, maybe it's up to organizations such as Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and I'm sure there's a whole lot more, to sort of give you a pop-up when you post a photo or when you check in somewhere. Just, are you really sure you would like to check in here? Because all these people will find out about it. So maybe it's also their responsibility to do something about this. I'll now pass it on to my friend, Lemon Khani, who will cover the 2 other topics he took part in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Lemon Khani Mtonga from Zambia, Africa. I am here with 4 other people, and we were sponsored by Zambian Information and Communication Technology Authority, an association that we're currently working with. So in our sessions, we discussed Smart It Up, and the challenging question is, can political activism in social media be a risk? And can we make political activism safe? Can political activism in social media be a risk? And can we make it safe? And our answer to that question is that yes and no. It is a risk in the sense that it depends on the country that you're from. It depends on the laws that govern that country and the regulations that are there. And I'll give a quick example. In my country, if you say something against the government, it is highly dependent on what you say. If you're praising the government, it is not a risk. They'll support your statement. But if you speak not in the affirmative with the government, they might harass you. But again, it depends on what you post. Is it ideal? Is it real? And if at all, does it have a legal standing? If it is true, they have no issue against you. So in that sense, it may or may not be a risk. But again, we say it is a risk in the sense that everything you post and tweet and publish to the media is subject to being read by everyone. And in that case, people might react to it. And how they react is highly reliable on what you say. Therefore, it may be a risk and may not be a risk. And it comes to regulation. Therefore, we jumped on lastly to the solutions to this particular situation. Considering that it may or may not be a risk, we need a status quo. We need to have a standing. How do we want it to be? Do we want political activism to be a risk? Or do we not want it to be a risk? Or do we want it to be the way it is? Currently, it's not so good. What we may want is to make political activism a risk in a reasonable man's sense. It shouldn't be in the position of the government to decide to say what you've done is highly wrong. It should be in a position of a reasonable man, the court. It is highly also responsible. It is also the responsibility of the ITU, the United Nations, to come up with laws and to formulate laws that will govern the aspect of political activism. A uniform law will do, but also a teaching will do to countries on this matter. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm from Qatar, and I'm here with my colleague from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So in our session, we focused on internet safety for children, and in our session, we discussed the different recommendations that we would like to enforce or suggest to different sectors of society. So I will discuss some of my recommendations, and then my colleague will discuss the rest. So we believe that education about internet safety for children should start from a child's home. However, the statistics we saw showed that parents do believe that it is important to educate their children about internet safety, but most of them do not believe that it is their job to educate their children, but that this education should come from schools or different other areas. So we believe that parents should be first educated about internet safety, and it's important to educate them that it is important for them to educate their children, and also create and foster an environment in their homes where their children can come up and speak to them about the problems that they face online. For example, if they have any problems such as cyberbullying. Second, we believe that it is very important for government and public sector in general to take a very active role in solving this issue. And here we believe that the Ministry of Education and the Ministries of Education and Ministries of Technology should take an active role in creating a curriculum and enforcing that in schools, and educating their kids through schools and through workshops, and also by educating their teachers to kind of help them through that. It would take a very big step into solving this issue. And we also think that governments should create incentives or give incentives to private companies to work within their CSR programs to take initiatives to solve this issue. So I will pass this on to my colleague Denise, who will continue.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, I'm Dennis. I'm coming here from Geneva. And our sponsors are PwC and Fermion. We are the delegation of Fermion. So I will be continuing talking about the private sector and the medias. First of all, private sector is really important to create some new innovations about online child safety. In our workshop, we found out that private companies such as Google or Microsoft can create some kids programs like Microsoft Kids or Google Kids with some special educational content. Second of all, companies can get involved to educating children about safety programs through CSR programs, especially those are related to ICTs. For example, we saw the Disney creating a Club Penguin, a game called Club Penguin, in order to create some safe server to chat for kids. and create a digital citizenship to inform people, inform especially children, what to do and what to not do. And I also disagree with what Mr. Howard Charney said yesterday. I think governments and private sector must cooperate, and none of them should underestimate each other. Second of all, I will pass to medias. Medias are really important, and we also cannot underestimate medias of today. We all see how Twitter and Facebook are important. We all see what happened in Turkey in past few months, the democratic rights against the cruel politics of the Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and all the important steps to democracy. Medias should take role for children in cartoons or in child magazines to make some campaigns. What can be these campaigns? We can warn children about, for example, talking with strangers, because it's really risky. And second of all, we also discussed about the child safety, and we can develop some role models, maybe such as Chuck Norris, to tell people that what to do and what to not do, because children take really role models. We can all see Superman and Batman, and why not to create an online virtual superhero to tell kids and to educate them about the risks of the internet and ICTs. Thank you very much.
Right, hi. My name is Mauro. I'm from Colombia. I came sponsored by the ICT Ministry of Colombia, and I made part of the cyberbullying workshop and of the info privacy workshop. So first, in cyberbullying, I want to say a very clear message for everyone, and it's cyberbullying is everyone's responsibility. It's not just there outside. Everybody needs to be in charge of preventing cyberbullying. In that term, I want to make clear that we have to make prevention campaigns. We have to look forward to prevent cyberbullying. Our childs and the children that are coming is not just to be careful with them when they are offline. The problem is also online. Actually, the problem can be in-house. So we really, what we discussed was making a real statement and making clear that we have to make prevention campaigns in order to prevent cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is not just outside of our houses, outside of everything. You can be cyberbullied once you get click on your photo, once you make public everything can be a part of being a cyberbully. So our message is clear. We have to take care of what we are posting online, of what we are posting and what we are saying online. We have to be clear on our messages, and we have to have one thing very clear. It's not just you have to go online and post everything you know and post everything. You just have to take care of what you're saying on what you're posting. And on info privacy, this goes this way. In info privacy, not everything you have to do and not everything you know and not everything that is in your mind should be gone online. You have to take care of what you're saying. It might be your resume. Your Facebook can be your resume. So you have to take care of what you're saying. And our call here is for the social media companies. It's not what means is not quantity of users, but quality of users. You cannot start having a lot of users because it's gonna give you traffic. Is what users are you having on that? So that was our info privacy conclusion. You have to take care of what you're posting, and you have to take care of what you're saying on the internet.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Sue from the United States and also part of the Georgia Tech delegation. And I'll continue talking about the info privacy session. So before we used to say that the internet is a virtual reality, that it's our second identity. But in reality, it isn't. It's an extension of our own selves. It's our own identity, and it's the extension of our own reputations. With the age of the oncoming new users of ICTs becoming younger and younger, we have to we have to make those youths be aware that they have to be careful when using the internet and social media outlets. That anything that they post, although it may seem that they can delete it afterwards, is permanent and can affect their lives in the future, since like when they want to apply for university or for a job. And in a way, netiquette is what we call the proper way to communicate on the internet. And it can also be similar to how we learn etiquette in social interactions. How do we learn etiquette? It's not through classes. We don't take classes to learn proper etiquette. We learn etiquette through experience, through interacting with others, and from the results of that interaction, we figure out what is right and what is wrong. So a solution to create awareness for the youth in proper use of ICTs is to introduce the use of ICTs and incorporate that into education when they're young. That way, that the use of ICTs is almost second nature to them. That when they use those ICTs, they of course are being monitored by whether their teachers or their parents. And they are able to get feedback almost immediately from them saying that, no, you should not have posted that, or no, have you thought of the the consequences of your actions? So the takeaway point of that is that governments and companies shouldn't focus on preventing children from using social media. Rather, they should focus on encouraging the use through other age-appropriate platforms created.
Wow, that was a lot of work. I absolutely love this idea about the superheroes. So maybe we can talk the SG into doing some kind of competition, and you all can create some really incredible superhero that we can use, for instance, on the COP website. And then I was thinking about you all, some of you all that are more devious could create the cyber bull and make it look like Taurus the bull. Anyway. All of these points are absolutely incredible. Just like in real life, do you need to both minimize and discern who are my real friends? You know, it's the same in the offline world as it is in the online world. That we, all of you, all of us as individuals must take some responsibility. We have to take responsibility for what we post. And then, of course, we have to take responsibility for teaching youth that are younger than we are. I don't know if you all really realize this, but it's a heavy weight on you all. Kids don't want to hear from me. They don't want to hear from the SG or even the president. They want to hear from people your age. So you all can really help solve this problem for the next generation. I'm very interested. One of the other solutions was about providing digital citizenship, netiquette, being good citizens online in schools. How many of your schools provided some kind of online education? Would you raise your hands? Interesting. How young were you? Shout out, was it in like grammar school or high school, or when did this happen? At the university level. So I guess we've got a lot of work to do, right, to get it plugged in younger and younger. So that's why things like Club Penguin that you all mentioned that Disney's doing are, you know, so very important. We didn't even get into some of the issues about how our data is being used, stored, and sold. You know, why aren't we getting some of that cash back, right? It's all of our data and all of our information, our pictures, for instance. Any kind of artwork or music that you post that is your own creation. So these are issues that really you all are going to be dealing with in your own lives personally, and then as leaders, obviously. So with that said, thank you again for all this insight. I'm just thrilled with some of these solutions and ideas, and we will certainly take those back to the Child Online Protection website and the ITU and share those with leaders all over the world. For any of you all who were sponsored by your ministers, please give them my best, because I was their colleague in Washington at the FCC several years ago, and so know many of them, and I'm so thrilled that they are being such supporters of COP and the ITU's emphasis on protecting children online. So with that said, let me turn it over now to our resident expert. She's worked on many issues facing children, as I said, at UNICEF and with the UN in New York, very much focused on violence, but also on the health, safety, and welfare in the offline world, and now increasingly in the online world. So with that, let me introduce Marta Santos Pais. Many of you all have seen her around. I think she was in and out of a lot of your sessions, and I'm very excited if you can glean some of what you heard from our reporters, and then give us some closing final remarks that kind of shape this for us, that would be absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel so honored and so excited. I think you all feel very excited at this moment. And I think I also realize that we are competing against something very thrilling here in Costa Rica, which is the qualification of Costa Rica for the World Cup of soccer. But we are so much more important. And of course, we are cheering for Costa Rica and other countries, but we have so much to build upon. And it's so humbling to follow the young colleagues who have just given us the highlights of such important discussions and such concrete, tangible, and feasible recommendations. And perhaps the big challenge before all of us is to really not let them die and bring them over to all of our friends and our governments and all those we interact with. You know, I'm slightly older than many of you. I'm a grandmother, already. But I realize with my grandchildren and my children that although I feel a bit of prehistory, that for them, using, accessing, playing around with new technologies is part of daily life. We all breathe these elements. And in fact, we feel very addicted and completely naked when we forget our BlackBerry, our mobile phone, our computer, iPad, or whatever it is. And we have heard from our colleagues in Mexico, Monterrey, from those who have presented here, and in all the sessions I participated in, how much all of you are aware about the potential, the dreams that we explore, the boundaries we force by using these technologies, and at the same time, how much we feel the need of being smart and safe in engaging with them. And I think your recommendations have shown that very, very visibly. But we know that there are risks, and we know that we need to address them very systematically. So I'm not going to try to portray all the fantastic ideas that were presented in the sessions this afternoon, but I'm going to recall some of the recommendations that were put forward. And again, they were very concrete. And perhaps the first recommendation I took for me is that we are dealing with a very complex and multifaceted topic, and there is no single actor who is sufficient and well prepared to deal with all of it. So we heard the role of governments is important, the role of the private sector is fundamental, the role of families and schools is essential, and the roles of children and young people is indispensable. But all together we can make this new universe, this contest, very present universe, something that makes a difference for all children. So trying to, highlight some of the key things I heard and were shared by all of you. I have a few ideas to share with you. The first was, I took for me, start with the child and young person. Don't talk about what is dangerous, what is a risk, what is a potential for you, the others. Start with the young person. And this means start listening to children about what they see as the potential, the opportunity, the concerns, the doubts, and the risks, and promote safety surfing together. Join hands, simulate risks, try to understand the possibilities of overcoming them, of supporting them, and try to enhance the capacities of the child and the father and the mother and the teacher and all those who interact with children together. And like that, we all gain this reassurance that the risks can be controlled, overcome, and the potential of this universe can be fully explored. Children need to feel supported in this process. They need to feel the guidance, but they also need to know that there is a space they are exploring, and we recognize their potential and their responsibility, as we heard so many times here. The second big thing I took for me, I'm sorry, and you said it just now, and it is so important, don't pretend that only older children and young people after 18 need these kinds of interactions and guidance. Start as early as possible, because all children may be impacted. Well, my grandson, when he was 3, taught me so many things. There will be younger children who can teach us so much. So the second thing I took for me was, as you said, sensitize parents, put their fears away, make them feel comfortable in engaging with these new technologies. Let them overcome the unknown with confidence, and very especially resist the temptation of just introducing censorship, barriers, closing doors, that in fact are not putting the risks aside. They are going to just bring them into clandestinity, but the risks will remain very present for everybody. Then the third thing I brought from the discussions was bridge home and schools. In this process, it is so important to recognize, as you also pointed out just now, the role of teachers, the role of schools in creating spaces for discussions, enhancing skills. But teachers need to feel that they have the capacity and the knowledge to do it, and to do it right, to guide, to assist, to support, and to empower children. And very often they lack that capacity, and they feel frightened by the responsibility that goes with it. So changing the school curricula, as you said, is one important thing, but change the training curricula of teachers is certainly something we cannot forget. And then I also took for me in this regard the opportunity to narrow the socioeconomic disparities that persist in so many of our countries, where some kids, some young people don't have their computer or iPad or mobile phone at home. They try to go to places where the risks may be higher and where they may be confronted, in fact, many challenges and situations of violence. So let us reach out to all children, all young people, and let us all be a network and a wave to bring those good images and solutions to all of them. Then the fourth thing I heard was create superheroes, as you said, and I love it. But I was listening to you, and to be honest, I was thinking, well, we have superheroes in this room, you know, so we don't need to create them in a way. So let us build upon your capacity. But you also said involve opinion leaders, involve role models, involve the influential actors that can help us multiply the outreach of our messages. And this is something, of course, that we need to explore. And in this regard, I want to say, in a way, we all have a responsibility. And I'm just going to give a very concrete example. In my own work as Special Representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations on Violence Against Children, guided by the opinion of young people, I did this pen drive, which has all the information about the work I do and how we interact with so many actors. And this is just so easy to put in the pocket of presidents and members of government and parliament and private sector and all those we want to convince. So, of course, I also want to join hands with you in this regard. And this brings me to the role of the private sector. And you said it much better than I can say. But I heard a few recommendations that I feel are important, which were that we need to encourage the private sector to develop and make known very strong but also child-friendly and youth-friendly social responsibility principles. This cannot only be an internal question for them. It needs to be made public to all of us so that we can draw from those principles and then make them work very responsibly. And at the same time, they need to help us disseminate and create the good tools for all children to feel, all young people to feel empowered and part of this process. And I took a sentence from one of the groups that said, it's always better to be safe than to be sorry. So in this process, of course, let us not forget that responsibility, opportunity. Then the sixth thing I took for me was the governments have a critical role. In the UN, we say the governments have a leading role, in fact, in creating the conditions, regulating the situations, intervening where there are risks for young people and others. So, of course, it is important to recall that. But one key recommendation I heard was all governments need to secure funding, because money is important, to ensure that there are enough campaigns to raise awareness in the public at large in all nations, but to promote campaigns for children and young people specifically. And there were many recommendations in this regard. I'm going to very quickly skip through them. For instance, it was recommended that all forms of media need to be engaged in this process to reach young people, not only some forms of media. It is important to tell stories that transmit the human story, the human face of those who may be at risk, the story of the particular boy or girl in a particular country. That touches our hearts, not just be abstract about it. Let us replicate in this campaign situations that are concrete, that people may see themselves into and can feel the risks, the potential, the victimization, the humiliation, and how we need to help those that have been affected by it. Use entertainment and ICT so that people also take advantage and have fun and feel positive and confident rather than feeling completely overwhelmed by what they may be facing. So many specific recommendations in this regard. But you also said in relation to governments, let us not forget when something wrong happens, governments need to put in place mechanisms to intervene and support the victims, the child and young people who have suffered the abuse, the humiliation. And on this, we cannot really postpone solutions. They need to happen now. And children need to be safe at all moments. And then I think I concluded, okay, we all need to join hands and we all need to be responsible and smart and safe, as we said, but we need to join hands together and not only work within our own organizations or countries. And here new technologies are putting us all connected, which is, of course, fantastic. But let us not forget, again, as we heard our young champions and superheroes a moment ago, there is no way we can understand and explore the potential of these technologies and put risks aside if we don't do it joining hands with children and young people. They will alert us much better than we can speak to all these issues. And therefore, my plea to you is let us really connect together and make this be persisting as a priority, and I'm so thankful that in the General Assembly there will be voices bringing the results of these together. So final, I want to say I'm so honored to be part of this. I'm so excited to be part of this. I'm almost cheering like the Costa Ricans in being qualified for the World Cup. But I want to continue to learn from you, and I want to be your friend in the social media network. So thank you so much.
As you all can see, you have yet another passionate world leader at the UN and with UNICEF who has been working to protect you your entire life with her career and her advice to the General Assembly and to the UN itself. I think that at this point, we would like to... No, we wouldn't like to do that. As you all know, we have some certificates to give out that are going to be for all of you all, but we also knew that you wanted to, yes, tomorrow. Open the floor. Great. Okay, so if you all would like to have an intervention, either about what you have heard from some of the breakout reporters, or if you all were part of a session and you'd like to tell us either something that you heard that maybe was different or in addition to, then we would love to have you all do that, and we'll get you a microphone. Yes. Is there a microphone that we could? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Pretty glad to be here. My name is Jorge Sandoval. I'm a Costa Rican delegate, and I would like to share a small thought. So I will try to be brief. Something that is really important for all of us here, is the use of the ICTs. However, it is really hard for every one of us, especially in a childhood time, to understand what it means. Because when we are introduced to this internet world, we think that it is for entertainment, we think that it is for watching videos, or we think that that is for playing games. And I think that it is really important to communicate children how powerful or how far you can get using the internet. And I think that part of that educational budget or syllabus, I'm sorry, should include that internet could do amazing things. That they could, this is one of the biggest inventions that we as humankind have developed. So it is really important to show them that many things that they would like to achieve during their lives, even though they have a small dream being social, they could try to focus it through the internet and try to get something useful for their community, for their family, or for their world, instead of thinking that it is just an entertainment platform. I would like to make the children see that, because that even though you may think that they are not prepared for that, I have seen that some children, when you try to excite them about the potentials that they can get or how far they could get, I have seen that when you talk to them and explain them about how something really simple that we, as we said yesterday, give for granted, can be used for people around the world to change their country. I would like to let them know that. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I just want to add a little comment. And my name is Luis. I'm from Nicaragua. Well, basically, we've been talking about technology all day, and it's pretty good on ways we can help out children. But we need to remember that our first role models, our first contact is a human contact, our parents. So I guess a factor that wasn't addressed today is that what we need to keep on, we don't need to let the technology surpass our humanity. Basically, we need them to evolve at the same rate, so we can use the technology in the best way possible for our reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Junior Ondong. I'm coming from Gabon. I'm advisor of President of Gabon. I need to say something in French because my English is bad. My Spanish is very, very, very bad. I
would like to congratulate the UTA for the organization, and we would like to say that from 18 to 30 there are a lot of challenges that have to be replicated. They're capitals, fundamental capitals to the growth of these countries.
This will go through the flow of CITs, and the process of control and management of CITs is the only way for underdeveloped countries to get to development. So we are forced to establish control mechanisms for access to CITs, to control the whole process that goes with that. It goes along all the proposals that we have heard, but I think that the key to future success will be that Our children are human capital, and if they do not receive a good education, they will go anyway. So thank you very much for all this, and I would like to congratulate you on behalf of the President of the Republic of Gabon.
European part of Guides and Scouts of Costa Rica. I think one part that we are missing in the discussion is the non-formal education. Like we are, for example, Guides and Scouts worldwide. We have big processes. We are in almost every country on the world, and we can have a great impact as we are doing in climate change, in the HIV processes, for example. So if we can take in consideration non-formal education and our environment, we can reach even more than we are thinking in schools and families.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I am Ana Silvia Salazar from Guatemala. My English is very bad, so I will speak in Spanish.
Yes, we do. I was in a workshop, in the self-exposure workshop. We were discussing about the real identity through the internet. We think it is very important to articulate this part. We would like you to know that in Guatemala, 2 people were contacted by this guy. This guy had a false profile. Everyone was talking to him. He raped them and he killed them. So we would like you to know that this is really important to be regulated.
So we were discussing the use of data mining and finding patterns and profiles, and I think that's really essential. And maybe companies don't find it useful because that means they will have less users. But it is quite simple to create a behavior pattern to see if someone's profile is true, is a real profile, or if it's false, and to take action against any falseness.
And you bring up also a really good point, and that is that many nations' laws have not caught up with all the changes that have occurred because of this explosion of technology. It happens every time that there is any type of new technological explosion. And so one of the things that you all need to do is encourage your legislators, your parliaments, your executive branch to propose and ensure that all the laws in the real world are also impacting and our authority, legal authority for any activity that's going on online. So thank you so much. I can't, yes ma'am, and I can't really see in the back very well, so if you all have something to say, please wave. Thank you.
Hola, mucho gusto, mi nombre es...
Hi, nice to meet you everyone. I'm Gabriela from Costa Rica, from the Scouts Association of Costa Rica, and we've been linked. Well, I have been linked to volunteer associations for a long time. I work now with children between 7 and 11 years of age in a non-formal education program, and I monitor that through their personal lives. So I know where they come from, what problems they have, what types of families they live in. And I was working today with the Disney program, looking a little bit about the application they developed to show them how to use internet safely. Some of my colleagues said, no, let's think like children. We cannot forget that we are talking about children, so we have to integrate them. They have their own point of view. You can't talk about youth without youth, so we also need children to express themselves, to tell us what they feel. Also, we cannot pretend and ask children to be isolated. They have access to internet and it's practically limitless. We also know that there are children that may get raped, and there are children that come from families that live around prostitution and pornography. They live in their families situations of human trafficking. We can't think that they are ignorant in that sense. So we have to know what they're living through to give them a solution for that. As young people, we also need to be aware that they are not the innocent children we would like them to be. They also have a world like we do, and we need to include them to provide them tools that will really give them a solution in the long term, because it's no use for us to create solutions that are just good for today, because it's what we're living today, because we have experiences that we lived throughout our 18, 20, or 25 years. But what happens with them? We also have to be updated. We have to include them. We have to know that there are different contexts as well. I also worked in Kenya in an orphanage with extreme poverty, and I have to say that technology would help a lot. Applications would help a lot. But besides that, we need a society, because here it says, if you have a cell phone, I can steal it from you. If you have a better tablet, I want one, so I'll steal it. Even if that means that I have to forget that I have to eat. So let's make the dreams of children be our dreams as well. That way we can build together with them, with the generations that have also lived with us, a better future, but all together.
Good afternoon. My name is Scarlett Sanchez. I'm from Dominican Republic. And now I'm working for the government, and I'm working for the presidential office in charge of the Information and Communication Technologies. Les voy a hablar en español para...
Okay. I was also in a workshop about the exposure that we have in the social media. And we came up with the conclusion that youngsters are trying to expose themselves because they want to feel important. They will like to feel that the likes that are provided to their pictures are being important. We would like to fulfill a campaign to a government level to make conscience for the children, to understand what is the real use that takes me to be. Another interesting thing is that we were thinking that we had to motivate the social media to work with the ethic themes. Another important thing that we proposed to promote that girls to study related careers with TICs, to propose another ethic use. So we think this is an important.
It's important to have an ethical day of CITs created, and we want that to happen. Thank you very much.
Esteemed guests have arrived, and so at this point in time, I would like to invite the Secretary General, His Excellency Hamadoun Touré, up here with us, and then also my good friend, Her Excellency First Lady, Dr. Patience Jonathan, if she can come to the stage as well. Again, will you help me thank Marta for being with us and for helping to collect all of your thoughts as we move forward to taking your voice to New York and beyond. Could we go ahead and have the students come up? Or okay. So I think, is there one other person that would like to make a comment that I didn't get a chance to call on? Yes, sir.
good night.
Yes.
Is night or afternoon? El cambio de horario. Voy a hablar en español.
I'll speak in Spanish. I'm also from the Ministry of Telecommunications in Ecuador. And in our cyberbullying workshop, we realized in the videos that we showed that there's the awareness campaigns, but they always happen after someone had been affected. So we think it's important to have prevention always. And one way to do this is by including in curricula, which is something that we also discussed in another workshop, through high school and school curricula, to have a subject on peace culture, because really you have lots of aggressiveness happening in schools anyway. So if we have, say, 2 hours a week throughout grade school, these types of subjects would be a great way to cover cyberbullying and physical bullying. And another idea that we rescue from this is that it would be great if in social networks before publishing or posting your photos, there should be a suggestion saying that the photo that you will or that you're about to post may affect the integrity of another person. So then at least we can try and raise awareness before they post pictures, anything modified or anything that could be seen as uncomfortable. So that was it. Thank you.
So I think it's very interesting. So many of you all have brought this up, and that this is part of really a larger kind of environment for all of us to be more peaceful citizens, to have this netizen, this netiquette, as we live increasingly in this online world. So I think that those are excellent suggestions, and how important prevention is. It doesn't matter what the health issue is, that really we should be spending much more time and money on the prevention rather than solving the solution afterwards, just like we do with children's vaccinations, for instance. So I agree. I think that those are some really great points, and I hope that all of you all will continue to spread this as you go back home as well and keep in touch. I also think that the gentleman brought up another great point about the provider's responsibility and transparency of what they do with our information, and maybe giving us an opportunity to not post something because we've been reminded by an alert or whatever. We know that this is technologically capable to get alerts because we get alerts all the time about other things. So why not before we post something that we might wish that we had never posted before? And many of you all are out in the working environment, in business already, in employment. And as you all know, many universities are looking constantly on the social websites. Many colleges and universities decide to retract their offers for both admissions and for scholarships. And increasingly, HR departments at corporations are beginning to look on those social networks as well. So you need to be a very savvy user, especially if you are going to university or looking for a job, which also means teaching people who are younger than you about those issues as well. Does someone have a short comment? I think we're just waiting on the Secretary General to walk in. Or anyone want to? He's here? Wonderful. So again, we're so thrilled that one of the strongest voices and advocates for child online protection and for the empowerment of you and all of our youth, the Secretary General of the ITU, Hamadoun Touré. will be joining us on stage now, along with Her Excellency, First Lady, Dr. Patience Jonathan. Thank you all so much for coming back again at the end of a very, very long day. I think that you all heard earlier today the passion with which both of these world leaders spoke, and they have had a very, very long day, as have you, but have heard and spoken with a lot of you all, and I'm just so thrilled that they were able to join us for this closing of today's important discussion. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you all. It's been a great day.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Now we want to give out some awards to some of the participants, 8 representatives of the participants that were involved today in the Be Smart, Be Safe track. Please sit down. The first one I want to call is Mehmet Deniz Yalcin. Fab Ukusor Somto Sharon. Mauro Mora Núñez. Sara Al-Saadi. Zainab Hadi. Stephanie Su. And Deborah Colo. And Lemekani Mtonga. Let's please give a very big applause to all of them, and thank you for being here with us. Now I would like you to go back. Thank you very much. And now we're going to stay to give just final announcements and finish up the day wrap-up. Okay, now we're gonna be giving the final announcements for the closing of the day. We want to remind you that you should refer to the app on your tablet. That's the latest version of the program. Also, we want to remind you, encourage you to rate each session, and the speakers, please, after each session, before you forget what was the session about or what were your thoughts, please rate them. And also, we want to announce that from today on, we have an app available on iOS. You can look for it at bit.ly/BYND app, or just look it in the App Store by BYND, and it'll be there. Also, don't forget to take part in our 2 competitions, the Be Healthy, Be Mobile. And also, winners are going to be announced tomorrow. So please don't forget to participate. Then, very important news. Please remember that tomorrow we have amazing offline visits. It's going to be another great morning full of surprises and lots of new things to learn and to discuss and to collaborate. Please bring your tablets to your visits, and please remember that you have to go to the visit you were assigned. You cannot go to any other visit because the space is limited, and so you have to go to the ones you've been assigned. The ones going to Earth University, the departure from Barcelona and Best Western hotels will be at 6:30 a.m. For the ones going to Inbio Park, the departure is going to be from Crown Plaza Hotel at 7:30 a.m. And for the ones that are going to Dos Pinos, the departure is going to be from Crown Plaza as well at 8:15. And also, very, very important, we were discussing this earlier. We really encourage you to stay to the campfire conversation tonight. It's a very special one because it's the one that's going to be here in this plenary writing what we want to take to the United Nations at the General Assembly, right? So this is one of the main points of this whole event. We really want to make sure that you're involved in the writing of the declaratory that we want to express as youth to everyone there at the UN General Assembly at the end of this month. And please be sure to be here and share your thoughts and concerns and proposals. This is going to be held at 7:30 p.m. up to 9 p.m. So thank you very much. I hope you have an amazing evening, that you can join here at the Chiripo at 7:30, and also have a great time tomorrow. And see you later.